All right, guys. So welcome. Today's your first day of training, and we're going to go over some information today and all week with everyone. So what I was going to do was give you a rundown of what to expect over this week, since it's your first week, and what you could expect next week for your second week, and then go over a little bit of history of the agency, a little bit of history of the company, kind of bring everybody up to speed to where we're at today. And then also use our time to make sure, since it's your first day, making sure we understand the opportunity. So we're going to go over today understanding the opportunity. So that's why I have the whiteboard here, is because I'll probably be writing some stuff on it, mostly numbers. So if you're decent with math, if you're decent with numbers, you should be pretty okay with the information I go over today. The good news is you don't have to be, head of the math club to be good at the math that you need to be good at here. This is not rocket science. Obviously this is not brain surgery. It's pretty basic math, but still you got to have at least a little bit of understanding of some numbers. So we're going to go over that today. Good. Yep, we're good to go. So to get started, I was going to go sort of the history of the company, history of the agency a little bit, but also tell you guys what to expect over the next few weeks. So this week, today, next week, your first 2 weeks in training class, it's pretty similar. Week 1, week 2, very similar schedule, just different information as you go through it. So the week 1 is this week here. The main goal of week 1 is you want to master the first half of your presentation and be able to do that in front of the client by the end of this week. Next week, you want to be able to do the full presentation in front of the client. So I'd rather week 1 you do the first half, but know it like 100%. Rather than the full thing, but only know it 50-50. So this week, you want to master the first half. Next week, you're going to master the full thing and going over that in front of the client. So a lot of repetition. There's a lot of repetition, saying it over and over and over, just like you could imagine a quarterback. I mean, how many times do they want that quarterback to run that play, to throw that ball, to practice throwing the ball? A pitcher, how many times does a pitcher practice pitching? A lot. How many times does a batter practice batting? A lot. It's a lot of repetitions. And that's really the key in learning and mastering this business. It's not sitting here watching us do it. It's you actually doing it. I could have Tiger Woods come in here and swing a golf club 100 times for us, right? And nail the ball. He could do it perfect. Hit the ball perfectly straight, hundreds of yards every single time. And then after he does it 100 times, he's going to hand you the golf club and say, now you got to go do it. How well do you think you're going to be able to hit it like Tiger Woods because you've seen him do it 100 times? Obviously not. Right? I could watch somebody hit 400 home runs. Don't mean I can hit a home run by watching people do it. The key is you have to go do it and then get coached up as you're doing it, right? So imagine, Tiger Woods was here, but instead of him hitting the golf balls and us watching him, imagine he gave you the golf club. He said, you hit it and I'll coach you. So every time you hit it, he gives you more pointers and more coaching. By the end of it, if you do about 100 swings, you're going to be 100 times better than when you started because you did it versus watching somebody. So that's the biggest thing I can tell you is from the beginning of your career throughout your career, a lot of repetition and for us, it's not a baseball bat or a golf. It's our mouth is our tool we're using. We're using our jaw, our tongue, and we got to make sure that this tool is gets the reps in. So we got to practice saying the words a lot. And if you say them enough, before you know it, you're going to say things without even thinking about it anymore. That's really you want to get to. At the beginning, when you say stuff, you're going to have to probably think more about what you're saying. But just like Just like, swinging a baseball bat, you're going to have to think more about it at the beginning. Like, okay, wait, he said to hold it like this, stand like this, put my elbow up like this, put my arm over like this, bend my knee, put my more weight. You're going to be thinking, but now you do it 100, 200, 300 times, you do it for years. Batter's not walking up there thinking, okay, wait, elbow up, make sure I'm doing. They just go get the bat and they go right into form because they've done it so many times. They have what's called muscle memory. So that's what we're going to look to develop here is muscle memory, and to where when you meet with a client, you're not even thinking anymore. It's just coming out and happening naturally, So week one, today's Monday. What we had a morning this morning. You got your morning squared away where you sort of went over your script. We had a quick agency meeting. Now we have training this afternoon, and tonight's will be on the phones. So tonight is when you're going to learn and listen and learn and hopefully maybe even be able to make some phone calls yourself if you're comfortable enough with it. Typically, the first night on the phones, you're just watching them. You're typically not going to be making any calls. But like I said, it's not that difficult. For me, in my first night, I was able to make phone calls. I watched my manager call the people. He gave me a script. I read the script as my manager was making the calls. And I was listening and I was like, this seems pretty easy. Just give me the leads. I can do it tonight. He let me call and I was booking on my very first night. So if you have some skills or you want to just hop on, if you're good enough, you can do that. But typically first night you're watching. Second night on the phones is going to be Thursday night. That's a big phone night for us as well. So that's typically when you're going to be making most of your phone calls during that night. So that's Monday. Monday today is just a little training session with me this afternoon and then learning phones tonight. Tomorrow, and the reason we learn phones first is because without setting the appointment, it doesn't matter how good of a presentation you have. You could have the best presentation, the best product in the world. Imagine you got a product that everybody wants and needs. That's great. But if you don't have anybody to present that to, you don't have any appointments to go to, don't matter how good of a presentation. So we have to make sure we have our phone calls down first. So first thing we do is we always teach you phones and how to master that. So that'll be done tonight. The rest of the week will be pretty similar. It'll be something like this, okay? It'll be in the mornings, we will be practicing our presentation, role playing mostly. So you and your manager, you and another trainee will be working together and practicing your presentation. Typically, the first week, you'll just be doing the first half of your presentation. The second week, you'll be doing the full thing in the morning. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in the mornings is just role playing and practicing your presentation. That's the biggest thing in your mornings you'll be doing. And then in the afternoons, we'll be in training class. So you'll be with myself or you'll be with another manager, and they'll be running a training class for us. Same situation we're in now, the same link that you clicked on for the Zoom, the same room. We're typically going to be in the same room here in the office in the afternoon from 1. It's supposed to go 1 to 4, but we usually get it done from 1 to 3. We get through the information pretty quick, which is nice because that gives everybody in training class, it gives you like an extra hour to have some time to relax throughout your day, to do whatever you need to do, take your dog for a walk or whatever you got to do as well. So throughout the week, plan from like 1 till 4 to be in class, but probably going to get out around 3. Okay. So you probably get out about an hour early. We've been able to, over the past few trading classes we've been running, we've been getting through everything in less than 3 hours every day, which is nice. And then at nighttime is when you should be working with clients. So tomorrow night, your manager and yourself, you guys will have appointments. When you get out of training class tomorrow, then you hop in with your manager and you actually go see live presentations. Then on Wednesday, right after training class in the afternoon, then you hop on with your manager and you guys should have some live presentations set up for that night. Thursday, same thing. You'll be in the morning role playing, training class in the afternoon, and Thursday you'll be setting up appointments. You'll actually be on the phones, making appointments with your manager. This will be your first full phone session. And then Friday will be the same thing. In the morning, role playing, practicing. In the afternoon, we'll be in training class, learning. And then at night, we'll be meeting with clients. So the goal is by the end of the week, maybe the first time that you see clients tomorrow night, the first presentation, you're probably not going to be doing the presentation or be doing much of it the first one you do. Then the second one you do, if me and you are doing the presentation together and I'm your trainer, I'll probably say, hey, I'm going to have you do the first 10 or 20% of the next presentation for the client. I'll pick up wherever you leave off. And then the next presentation, I might have you do 20 or 30% of the presentation. And then I'll pick up where you leave off. And each time that we go see our next client, every time we go see our clients, the goal is to have you do more and more and more of the presentation and me do less and less and less. Does that make sense? The whole goal by the end of week one is we want you to do at least 50% of the presentation by the end of the first week. Now, week one is over. We worked in the mornings, we trained in the afternoon, we saw clients at night, you got experience, you're starting to get more comfortable knowing what you're doing. Now we go into week two, we want to transition into the second half of the presentation. And you're going to, in the mornings, you'll be practicing that in the mornings. In the afternoon, in training class, we'll be training that with you. And then in the evening, you'll be meeting with clients. And like I said, you know, if I was with you, what we would do is I would let you do as much of the presentation as you possibly could before I ever even stepped into it. But we would do them together. So, you know, we'd walk in, we meet with Joe and Mary, and you may do the first 50, 60, 70%. But when it comes down to the end, I might have to step in and help out a little bit. But the next time we do it, you get a little bit further along, a little bit more developed. And now you're doing 80%, 90%. And before the end of the week, you're able to do 100% of the presentation and you don't need anybody there. You don't need me to say anything. I could just basically just sit there and be quiet and watch you go and do what we've been practicing. Because obviously this is something that we've been practicing over and over and over and over all week long, 2 weeks in a row of you role playing it in the morning. And if we went to see clients tonight, I shouldn't be worried about what you're going to say because I just saw you say it all this morning. All morning we practice it. So we practiced it all morning. So when we see the clients at night, all you do is just say the same thing you said this morning. We're just going to say it at night with some in front of real people this time. Right? So that's the first 2 weeks. By the end of your second week, you should feel confident enough to where you can call a client up and schedule them for an appointment. You can make that phone call. By the end of your second week, you should feel confident enough to where if they set an appointment with you, you can show up either on Zoom or in person, whatever it may be, but you should feel confident that when you meet with them, you can give them a presentation. And it's not a question anymore. It's you're not nervous about it. You're still going to feel a little unconfident, still a little nervous as you've only been in 2 weeks of training, but you feel confident enough to get through the presentation, front to back. Are you going to be the best in the world? Obviously not after 2 weeks, but you're going to know enough to where you can feel confident to do that. At that point, you should be ready to go out on your own after these next 2, maybe 3 weeks, depends on how long it takes you to learn everything. But after these next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to be able to go out on your own, schedule appointments, and go see clients without anybody there. We'll be able to give you your own leads. Okay. That's your first milestone, is getting through training and getting to go on your own, which means you do not need a trainer with you anymore. So when you don't need a trainer with you anymore and you can go out on your own, that's like your first big milestone. So we're going to discuss, there's 4 milestones that you can hit in your career. And the first milestone is getting through training and getting out on your own. That's your first milestone. They were joking about it. They said it's kind of like when you're a caterpillar and you go into your cocoon and you become a butterfly and you get your wings and you can now fly all on your own. So that's when you go through training, you got your license, you went through training. Now you don't need anybody with you. You can literally go out on your own, set your own appointments, see your own clients, and you don't need anyone there to help you anymore. You can fly on your own. So that's your first milestone, milestone number 1. There's 4 of them. So I'll give you all 4 real quick. The second milestone is when you hit your 100 presentations. When you hit 100 presentations is your second milestone. And what you want to do is you want to race to that. So it's how fast can you get to 100 presentations? And then you get a t-shirt when you get there and it says 0 to 100. You get a 0 to 100 t-shirt. So that's your second milestone. And this is a very important one because this is when your career really starts. I tell people until this, you didn't even get started. Everything up into that is just preseason, all prep work. The game didn't even start yet. When you hit 100 presentations, now you arrived. Now you can feel 100% comfortable and confident in what you're doing. Up until then, you weren't really. You might have thought you were, but you weren't. You're not 100% comfortable or 100% confident in what we're doing until we've done it about 100 times. And it's funny how it works, but when you give about 20 presentations out there in front of clients, you're going to start to feel 20% comfortable, 20% confident, but you're still going to feel about 80% uncomfortable and 80% unconfident. And then when you start to do 50 presentations, now you're 50% confident, 50% unconfident. When you give 60 presentations, now you're starting to get 60% comfortable, 70% comfortable, 80, 90. When you start to get around, when you give 100 presentations, that's when you're going to feel 100% confident and 100% comfortable. And 0% unconfident and uncomfortable at that point. But I will tell you, for your first 100 presentations, you will feel uncomfortable and you won't feel confident in what you're doing. So I want you to get ready for that now. And there's a saying, it says, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable at first. Okay. But once you hit 100 presentations, now you're 100% comfortable, 100% confident in what you're doing. So that's your second milestone. Your third milestone is your promotion. So when you get a contract increase, so when you get a promotion into leadership, or you can, if you decide to not take the leadership path, you can also get contract increases and get bigger commissions and increases in your contracts as a producer. So we have individuals here that never get into leadership. They strictly just set their own appointments. They see their own clients. They set their own schedule. They work whatever they want. They'll work 7 days a week this week. Next week, they'll work no days. 1 month, they'll work the whole month. The next month, they'll take off a month. They'll work 2 days a week here, 6 days a week here. But at the end of the day, They get the job done. They do what they want to do. They don't have to be responsible for training or managing anyone. So you can also earn contract increases there, or you can decide to get into management and leadership. And when you get promoted, you obviously get a promotion and a contract increase when you go to a supervisor. So when you get promoted into management, will be your third, or contract promotion would be a third milestone to receive. All that can be done within 1 year. And your fourth most milestone cannot be done within 1 year, though. Your fourth milestone takes at least 13 months to happen. And this is when you get your first renewal check. Now it's official. Now you are officially going to get paid every single month for the rest of your life. So that typically takes 13 months before you get your first renewal check. Because you could imagine, you'd have to obviously sign someone up in December, and then they'd have to pay a whole year. And then once they pay a year, now every single month they make a payment, you get paid off of that every single month. So the 13th month, and then every single month moving forward, we get paid on that over and over and over. So that's your fourth milestone that you can get. So, that those are some key things you definitely want to strive for and cross off. Now, your first 2 to 3 weeks is training class, getting ready to get yourself out on your own, and repetition. After you get out on your own, and now you're setting your own appointments, seeing your own clients, how long should it take someone to give 100 presentations? Because that's your next goal. As soon as you get out on your own, you're like, all right, you're ready to go? Okay, now you're going to start meeting with your clients. Okay, well, my next goal is I got to give 100 presentations in front of clients. That's my first and my next goal I got to do. How long should that really take? Well, if you see 10 clients a week, then that's going to take us how long? 10 weeks. So that's a good mind frame to be at. That's a good pace. If you're working hard, you're seeing a lot more people, you can get this done in less than 10 weeks. If you're, dragging your feet a little bit, you can take longer than 10 weeks. But you can say at 10, it's a pretty average situation. 10 weeks is about 2.5 months, right? 2.5 months. So that's why I tell everyone that it's your first 2 to 3 weeks, but then it's your first 2 to 3 months that really shapes your career. That's really going to shape everything. You can't quit until you give 100 presentations, because if you do, you ain't quitting because you never started. Someone said, well, I don't know if this is right for me. I said, you're not supposed to know until you give 100 presentations. That's the key. That's when you know. So that's going to take another 2 to 3 months for you to really feel comfortable. So I just want you to know, you're looking at 2 to 3 weeks plus another 2 to 3 months to feeling like you don't know everything. You don't got it all. You're not going to have it all down. Some of them may make not sense. It'll feel uncomfortable, maybe even feel a little bit of frustration a little bit. That's all natural. Just let you know, it's all natural. We've been there. I've been there. The best people in a company has been there before. And that's part of the process of learning something new and getting familiar and getting comfortable with it. So don't stress on none of that. Trust the process. There is a saying, they say, put all the pressure on the system and take all the pressure off yourself. So what that meant to me was that there's a system. Thank goodness there's a system, so I don't got to make stuff up. So there's already a system. And what's nice about this system is it's proven that it works. really, really well. So what the problem for me was, I didn't know the system. I was new. So I was trying to run the system, but I wasn't the best at executing everything at first. You could imagine, because I was just so new, right? So I was trying to put the pressure on the system, but I didn't really even know the system that well. But the key is don't ever try to put all the pressure on yourself and take it off the system and put it on yourself, because now it's all on me. So if something doesn't work out, if I'm not successful, a client doesn't get serviced properly, whose fault is that? It's going to be my fault, because I tried to do everything my way. I tried to recreate what it was taught to me, and I tried to create my own system. So I put all the pressure on who? On me. And now if it don't work, guess whose fault it is? It's my fault. So I never wanted it to be my fault. If I wasn't successful, I wanted to blame somebody else. Right? So I tried to do the system. I tried to be very coachable. I did the playbook the way it was supposed to be played. And everything they told me to do, I tried my hardest to execute it to the T. So that if I didn't get the results, I could tell them, like, this ain't my fault. I did everything you told me to do. And the thing for that, though, is I put all the pressure on the system, and I took all the pressure off myself. So that really stuck with me throughout my training process, is just always reminding myself to put the pressure on the system and not put the pressure on myself. Here's the thing, though. Every time that I put the pressure on the system and I did the things the way they were supposed to be done, I always got good results. I never had a chance to blame anybody, because I never had a situation where I did what they told me to do and it didn't work. Chances are, if I did what they told me to do and it didn't work, chances are I didn't do what they told me to do, and I had to go back and figure out, where did I mess up along the way? It's like they gave you directions on how to build the desk, and when you put the desk together at the end, you're missing a leg. Do you think it's your fault or the directions' fault? I highly doubt, that the engineers are selling thousands of these tables to people across the country, right? And the directions are wrong. And they're telling people to put 3 legs on a chair or on a desk. Chances are I probably messed something up. That's why my desk has 3 legs on it and all the other ones that have 4, So I always blame myself whenever I didn't get the results, because I knew I probably missed it. I probably messed something up. Let me go back, reread these instructions and figure this out and fix it, So that's just some advice on the training process and in the timing that it takes to really get your footing in the career. So if you look at the month that you're in now, this month is pretty much a training month. That's pretty much what you can think about for it. And then the next 2 to 3 months after that is going to be foundational work for you, just laying the foundation of your career and getting your footing and everything in the ground. And from there, we can grow and build. So for myself, guys, I came into this company 12 years ago in June of 2008 is when I started. So 12 and a half years now. And prior to this, I was a financial advisor. And prior to that, I was a real estate agent. And prior to that, I was in college. So right after college, I graduated and I became a real estate agent. And I always joke and tell everybody I graduated after one day. It was the quickest real estate career. I retired after one day, I must say. It was the quickest real estate career ever. I got out of that real estate license. I had my license, got out of that career, and became a financial advisor. So I went ahead and got licensed for Series 7, all that stuff you have to do to be a financial advisor. And I did that for 3 years, worked 80, 90 hours a week. My first year out of college, I worked as an advisor. I made like $30,000 that year, first year out of college. My second year, I made around 50 some thousand. My third year, I was making around maybe $70,000 as an advisor. Market was crashing, economy was going down, and I ended up meeting the state director for the city of Pittsburgh. I lived in Pittsburgh at the time, and this gentleman just moved to Pittsburgh. He was the state director. His name was Simon Arias. He just moved there. I ended up meeting him, and like I tell everybody, one of the first things that caught my eye was the success that he was having. He was very successful at a young age. But then the second thing that caught my eye was the systems that the company had. So he showed me that the reason he was successful is he's been working with this company, and the reason that this company is successful is because they have great systems in place. And one of those systems that caught my eye was the way the marketing works, how we don't have to start out by doing cold calling and prospecting in our career. As a financial advisor, that's all I did was cold call and prospect. So when I saw an opportunity here where we don't have to cold call and prospect, that immediately caught my attention. And so I saw there was a great opportunity to have a lot of success up front and make great income, because the people that I've seen that were doing it have been in the company very long, and they're making great income. And then I saw the opportunity where we didn't have to cold call and prospect. That made a lot of sense to me. Then the third thing that caught my eye was there's residual income here. That's one of the make it or break it's for me. If there was no residual income, I probably would not be with this company right now. And the other thing that caught my eye was the opportunity to grow and expand my career at the rate that I wanted to move at. There was no, I have to wait for somebody to die or wait somebody to retire in order for there to have an opportunity for somebody to move up. I saw there was opportunity where it was all based upon your own merit, your own work ethic, and your results, how pretty much you can get promoted at the pace you want to get promoted at. So I saw there's nobody holding me back. There was no glass ceiling sort of above my head. And all of those, made for me to make the decision to leave. I'm 24 years old. I'm making $70,000 a year. And I just got started in my career, and I have a bunch of clients that I manage their money for. Why would I leave all that? I left that career, came to this company because I saw the writing was on the wall. The numbers spoke for themselves. The career just made sense. So I left that career. I'm 24, making $70,000 a year. I left that career, and I came to this company. And in my very first year at this company, I worked really hard. I made $120,000. So along the first year, though, I worked my way up and got promoted to, within 8 months, I was a general manager with the company. So if I could explain it to you, what I did is I started in July of 2008. And that was my very first month. I was an agent. I went out and wrote more business than anybody in the agency. And I became the #1 agent in my very first month. I also recruited 10 people that month and brought them into the business. Well, my first month, I wrote 24,000 ALP, which means that I made $12,000 in income. So when you're 24 and you make $12,000 in a month, you get pretty excited, and you're not too shy about telling people. So it wasn't too hard for me to recruit 10 people. I was like, I'm making $3,000 a week. You got to come check this out. They're like, well, I don't know. I'm like, you don't got a choice. I'm making $3,000 a week. You're going to come check this out. Like, all right, I guess whatever you say, Tommy. So I was literally dragging people and making them just come look at this. Just look at it. Just do me a favor and just check it out. That's all I'm asking. I was just getting people to check it out. And what was nice about it is that the career sort of sells itself. So I wasn't convincing anybody in my first month, you got to come work here. It's the greatest ever. No, I didn't do that at all. I said, it's an amazing opportunity. It's changing my life right now. I think you could be potentially good at it, but why don't you check it out? And what's nice is it's like a magnet. When I explain this opportunity to people, if they're the right people, it's like a magnet and it attracts them. If they're the wrong people, it's like a magnet and it detracts them. It pushes them away. It's like when you take a magnet and you try and like put the two negative sides together, it don't work, right? What happens? The magnet doesn't, it keeps pushing. So that's what happens if you try and take somebody who's wrong in this opportunity and try and make them do, this is not going to work, right? But when you have the right people and they see this opportunity, it just attracts them. So my first month, that's all I did is just introduce people, show them what it's about. And someone went, wow, this is amazing. And they jumped aboard. I hired 10 people in my very first month. Keep in mind, there was no bonus for that. Today, if you hire 10 people in your first month, you will get $750 a person. For your first 90 days, you guys have 90 days starting probably today or whenever your first piece of business gets sent off. So you pretty much have 90 days from today to bring people into the business. And each person you bring in, you're going to get $750 cash per person that you bring in. So I don't like to think about it because it makes me sad, but I would have got a lot of money in my first few months if they would have had this bonus going on 12 years ago. So my first month, I brought in 10 people. I wrote 24,000. And sure enough, in my second month, they promoted me to a supervisor already. So now I'm a supervisor, and I went ahead and worked really hard that month. And what I did is I brought 10 more people into the company. So now I got 20 people I brought in. They end up promoting me again to a manager. So now I'm a manager. The people that I'm hiring are starting to pass their tests. Because if I hire you today, obviously you got to get your license. You got to wait for your license to come in the mail. So that takes a month or two. So the people that I hired in July didn't even come in until August or September. So now they start coming into the door. I start training, developing my team. And in October, I had 10 people on my team, writing business, trained, working basically in October. And I spent the next 6 months till basically till March of 2009 training as a manager to become a general manager. And in 2009, I became a general manager in March. So my first year, guys, what I did is basically I spent my first month, became the top producer, recruited 10 people. Second month, produced a lot, recruited more people. Third month, produced even more, recruited even more people, and the team started coming together. Now some of the people that I were bringing in were becoming supervisors. They were helping training the team. It was me plus a couple other of my guys were training as a leadership team and recruiting and developing more individuals. So within 8 months, the team developed. We were hitting our numbers, and I was able to step up to a general manager. So in 2009, I cleared about $120,000. In 2010, I got promoted from a general manager to a regional manager. That year, I cleared over $200,000. In 2011, I was a regional general manager. This is my third year with the company. I cleared $512,000. Imagine your third year with this company. So this will be for everybody on this call. This will be 21, 22. This will be in 2023. You're going to make $500,000. Imagine that. That's what happened for me my third year with this company. In my fourth year, it was $937,000 is how much I earned. That year, we were the number 2 regional team in the world. We got a big award on stage from the president, big trophy from the president of the company. And then we did in 2012, 2012, we were number 2. 2013, we were the number 1 regional team in the world. 2014, we were on stage again. 2015 on stage again. So we had 12, 13, 14, and 15, 4 years in a row we were on stage as the top regional team in the company. It's never been done in company history. They never had a regional director be #1 4 years in a row. It's like winning the Super Bowl like 4 years in a row. It just doesn't really happen. We were able to put together a nice string there. The year after that, the guy that I was working on my team, I promoted him to a regional director, and he became the #1 regional director in the company. So not only were we on stage 4 in a row, but we also promoted the top guy in the company from our team. And then the year after that was 2017. He was #1 in 2016. So I was #1 in 12, 13, 14, 15. Then Matt Diolis, the guy I promoted, was #1 in 16. And then 2017, we took off. So I wasn't on stage, he wasn't on stage. We were like #5 in the company. So still not bad, but we weren't #1 that year. My son had open heart surgery that year as well. So that's another reason why I wasn't really zoned in as much. And, but we worked really hard in 2017 to get ready for 18. And my son made it through all his open heart surgeries and everything. In 2018, the team got rallied up. We went back at it, and we were the #1 regional team in the company again, which is pretty much the highest award that you can receive in the company. So we were on stage 5 out of the last 7 years, 6 out of the last 7 years if you include Matt Diolis getting promoted from our team. So with that being said, they had no choice but to, they stayed on us, and the only choice they had was to promote me from a regional director to a state director. And there was a lot of different states, a lot of different opportunities they were trying to, throw out there as opportunities for us. And none of them were really that appealing besides Chicago. I'm a Pittsburgh guy. I love Pittsburgh. We have 4 seasons over there. It snows. It gets really cold. It gets hot. We got football. We got everything going on over there. I wanted something similar. So, Florida's were out of the question. I didn't want to go too far north. I wanted to stay in a 4 seasons type of area, And Chicago is pretty much the closest thing to me to Pittsburgh. In fact, I say that Chicago is like Pittsburgh, just 10 times bigger, basically. It's just a bigger Pittsburgh type of feel. So there's a lot of differences, obviously, but that's one of the biggest things that attracted me. But then when you looked at the numbers, the population here is huge. The demographics are exactly what we need for our operation. We're a 100% union insurance company, and we're in Chicago. You guys know much about this area at all? This is like where the unions were developed, man. We have a picture in the lobby. When you walk in the lobby, there's a picture of me with, do you see who I'm with? Who's the guy from the Teamsters? You guys know? Jimmy Hoffa. Everybody knows Jimmy Hoffa. You know Jimmy Hoffa? No? Do you guys know Jimmy Hoffa on the call? Maria does. Amanda? No Jimmy Hoffa? Okay. All right, so Jimmy Hoffa was the president of the Teamsters back in the day. He's no longer the president of the Teamsters anymore because they say he was killed. Anybody know where his body is rumored to be? They say he's in Giant Stadium. They said when they poured the concrete for Giant Stadium, that's where Jimmy Hoffa's body was. Nobody knows what happened. He disappeared, went MIA. He was the president of the Teamsters. And back in the day when they had Prohibition going on, guess who drove all the trucks? The Teamsters are in charge of driving trucks. So, there's a lot of cargo and a lot of stuff that went on those trucks that, stuff would go missing, right? They would need to transport illegal things to get from one spot to another. They'd use Teamster trucks. Jimmy Hoffa was in charge of all that. They said he was caught up with what you couldn't, he probably didn't even, I don't even know if he wanted to or not, but he got caught up with the mob here in Chicago, which sometimes you can't even avoid. You can try not to, but dude, you don't got a choice, right? He got caught up in the mob and all that stuff, and boom, he just disappears. So now the new president of the Teamsters is Jimmy Hoffa Jr. And I met him a few years ago, and there's a picture of me and Jimmy Hoffa Jr., the head of the Teamsters, in our lobby right up there, you know. So I thought that was pretty coincidental, because I met him 5 years ago, and now 5 years later, we're in Chicago, and I got that picture, you know, hanging up in our lobby. So it's pretty neat. But to bring us up to speed on the agency, we had a great, the last 10 years with this company have been phenomenal. 2010 to 2020, the company's grown every single year. We're at 12 consecutive years of growth right now. I think they said 14, actually. 14 consecutive years of growth as an international company. And this is the second depression that we're in. The first was 2008. We grew through that. And now we're in another one, which is worse than that one. And we're thriving is the quote that they're calling it. We're thriving through this one. So next year, the company motto is thrive. And I said this last week, so I apologize if I repeat myself, but this year, the company's motto is prove it. They said, prove it. You say you're the best, prove it. Well, we said that we are recession proof, our company. And the economy said, prove it this year. The world said, prove it. The universe said, prove it. We always said, we're recession proof. And they said, prove it. And sure enough, we're proving it. The company is at right now, 9 or 10, what is this? How many months are we in? 10 consecutive months of growth. 9 consecutive months of record-breaking growth, which means last month was the biggest October that the company's ever had. This is poised to be the biggest November. We'll have to wait till we see. When December comes out, they're projecting it to be the biggest December. So we have all these signs, indicators pointing next year's gonna be the biggest year the company's ever had. So with all these numbers, the indicators and everything, we're in the right place at the right time. I tell you, I've been in the company for 12 years, and I've never seen the opportunity better than what it is today. The bonuses are higher, the leadership's better. We are now virtual, which never existed before, and literally the opportunity has never been better than it is today. It's hard for me to well, I can tell you, I've been here. It's crazy to say this. So we have a great, great opportunity here to continue to do what the company's already been doing. A lot of this is not going to be reinventing the wheel. A lot of this, guys, is going to be just implementing it. Who can learn it and implement it faster and better? Those are the ones that win. So I was able to when we had meetings, we had training, whenever my leaders were speaking, I was really zoned in and paying attention to what they were saying. I was almost trying to read between the lines, right? And you want to learn this material until you can teach this material. So until you can teach it, you don't really know it as well as you need to know it. That's something that was told to me at the beginning. So I took that, made me take my learning to another level. So because I was like, all right, I got to learn this so I can use it. And if you need to learn something so that you can use it for yourself, you're going to learn it pretty good, right? But if I tell you you're teaching a class and there's going to be 100 people in the class on that subject, you're probably going to learn it just a little bit better, right? So when you're learning this information and you're in classes and training, you almost think like, can I train this to somebody? Because if I can't train somebody on this, I don't know it enough myself yet. So I'll just end on our little session here today, and we'll take a break. We'll take a little 20-minute break, let's call it. We'll hop on here at 2:20 Central. when we take the break. But we've only had 3 CEOs in company history, which is amazing. We've been around for 70 years, 70 years, and we've only had 3 CEOs. So I think that just speaks of the stability of the company. And it's just, I think it's just a coincidence, but there's a football team who got the most Super Bowls ever. Who has the most Super Bowls ever?
We do.
We do.
The Steelers.
Steelers, yes. I think that there's a team that's tied with us now called the New England Patriots. So there's 2 teams that are tied that have the most Super Bowls ever. But there's also a team that has like no Super Bowls and they lose a lot. They're called the Cleveland Browns. And I look at these 2 teams and they say everything rises and falls on leadership. So how could this team be successful for 70 years and this team be unsuccessful for 70 years? That's a long time to be losing for, right? Well, the Steelers have had 3 head coaches ever. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. 3 coaches ever. And we have the most Super Bowls ever, you know? The Cleveland Browns, they've had 70 coaches. I don't know how many, what the number is, but it's a lot. They've had like 30, 40, 50 coaches over the years and no Super Bowls. So I think this goes back to stability, you know, and then I look at AIL and I just was like, AIL has only had 3 CEOs and we are always winning. And the Steelers only had 3 head coaches and they're always winning. So, you know, it just goes back to the stability of the company a little bit. But let's take a quick break. And then when we get back, guys, we'll go over numbers. So told you we're doing some numbers. We'll go over numbers. It'll be a good hour of just straight numbers and contracts and stuff. So get ready for that. Have your calculators up. But I'll see you guys back on here at 2:20. I'll leave this screen up. You guys can hop off if you want, but I'm not going to close it down or anything. Okay? All right. Sounds good. See you in a couple minutes. Thank you.
I'm reaching out to you is that everything's cool, it's cool, everything's fine. The AIO just wants to check and make sure that Tatiana doesn't drive, does she? Okay, good. I figured that she did it. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. But the fact that she's 16, she could have her license. Right. That's what I figured. Okay. All right, then. So yeah, I'll make sure I tell them and I'll let them know that Tatiana does not drive, no driver's license. So then I'll be. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right, then. You guys did all everything, right? Okay, perfect. Okay, good. All right.
Tommy went to the bathroom. Did he tell you guys to hop on a break or something?
Yeah, so like a minute.
Okay. So he'll be back in a couple minutes. He went to the bathroom. I just got back from lunch myself. So what was he going over with you guys?
Just company overview. He's about to go through numbers right now.
Okay, cool. That's good. Good. That's the best part. It's my favorite part. It's numbers.
Yeah.
Because I mean, to be honest, this business is all numbers.
Yeah.
Like it is.
It's good to know the numbers too. I'm sure you can know the numbers to even work.
The toughest thing, and this is why we go over it in the third interview, is mental toughness. You're gonna definitely hear no. It happens. You just gotta know 1 out of 3 is gonna say yes, right? You gotta let the numbers play out. It's not like 1 week you do one thing. You gotta have a good set of numbers. You know, that's why another reason why I would say 90 days, 100 presentations. It's gonna give you a good barometer of your career. It really will. You know, 13 weeks is a good snapshot of where you're at and where you could be at, what things you could fix, you know? So it's tough to make adjustments within a week or 2 weeks, you know? Yeah, there's little small things we could fix, right? But the main thing I think, if Tony would be here, he'd definitely say mental toughness is one of the biggest things for sure. And understanding the numbers, and that's why it's so great that he does the first day of training with you guys. And I hope you guys respect that for sure.
Yeah.
Not many other SGAs are spending time with
Yeah,
brand new agents.
Yeah, I didn't know they was gonna train me. I thought it was gonna be Josh.
Yeah, yeah. So me and Josh will be training you and Amanda. Hey, Amanda, very nice to meet you. And Maria, I don't know who your manager is, but they'll be doing more training with you. Very nice to meet you, Amanda. I don't think Tony has any sound on there. Hi, Maria, how you doing? Tony should be back here in a little bit. He wanted me to just kind of give you the breakdown of how training's kind of going to go. Did anybody go over that with you guys, like more specific?
Not very specific, but he kind of gave me an overview.
Okay. So typically, the way we like to run training is usually about 10 o'clock in the morning to about 11:30 or so. We'll have you doing some practice presentations. So walking through the presentation with somebody, clicking around the buttons, making sure you know how to effectively do that. Like keep practicing. That's like what this career is going to come down to a lot, to be honest with you too, especially in your first 90 days, is just doing it over and over and over and over and over again, right? It's something that's you got to make it fun to do, right? There's going to be times where you're like, oh man, I said this 3,000 times already, right? But just realize that when you see people walking around the office and you hear stories of the success that people have, it's because they built a really, really, really strong foundation, right? So if you want to build a foundation to a house, like your dream house, are you going to like shortcut the foundation? No, you're gonna make sure that foundation is the best thing possible, right? And the foundation of everything is your script, is your presentation, right? So usually in the mornings on Tuesday and Wednesdays is a lot of role playing and practicing the presentation, specific parts of it. And then, and you'll typically be with your managers doing that, right? And then every day from like 1 to 3, or sometimes 2 to 4, depending on what the manager has going on, will be kind of what you guys are doing right now. So more one-on-one, more personal, kind of going over the more defined points of the presentation. And that'll happen for the first 2 weeks. So you'll do that, every day for the first couple weeks. And then usually during training, you'll be with a manager. So you'll be making phone calls and being in appointments with managers. Now, are you ladies both virtual full-time? Yes. Okay, perfect. So is anybody from Pittsburgh or in Pennsylvania? Both? No, just one? Okay. Where are you at, Amanda?
I'm in Texas.
Texas. Okay, cool. That's awesome. All right. So are you the same time zone we are?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So that's awesome. I'm glad you guys are doing it virtually. It's pretty cool. But so when you're not like in appointments with managers, you'll typically be on Zoom with them, going through the appointments. Every day we want to get a little bit more into the presentation. So maybe the first 1 or 2, just kind of have you not really do much. next 2 to 3 to 4, we're going to have you jump into the presentation, get a little bit more in depth with it. By the end of the week, have you presenting half of the no-cost stuff. Next week, kind of do the same exact thing. Get better with the script while you're in training, and then practice with the managers and actual appointments, right? The best way to actually learn how to do this is to do it live, right? Practice is all well and good. It gets you there. Like, it's necessary, it's needed for sure. But doing it live is something you can't get around. You got to do it, right? Hopefully you guys like talking to people and meeting new people, because that's the best part about this business for me, to be honest. That's why I was like walking the hall and Tommy was like, hey, go talk to them really quickly. And I was like, I can do that. We're good. I got that all day, right? So, but what I really, want to get defined with training is these first 2 weeks are going to be a little bit more intense. You're going to be there a little bit more. While you're learning, just stay with the process, guys, right? Stay with us. It's gonna, and the reason why I'm asking if you're virtual or not, because I do everything in home here, so I go out to see our members if I wanted to, but I do everything Zoom wise. It's just easier. It's easier to teach. But I did actually just spend a week back in Pittsburgh with my family, right? So I wanted to see what it was like on that side of the camera, having to look at the office all day, having to be on Zoom all day, right? What I would say is bug your managers, make sure that they have some place you can hang out, right? Make sure you're not alone, right? If you want to sit down and talk to somebody, like our team you typically have like a call room open or something open where you can hang out, talk to people through Zoom, just feel like you're kind of there. I noticed that when I was with myself, I was a little demotivated, right? It's tough talking to yourself and making phone calls by yourself. I've been doing this for almost 5 years. I could do it. If no one was watching me, I could still do it no matter what. But it didn't feel the same as if I was in an office atmosphere and I was with a team doing it. Until I hopped on Zoom and everyone's there. I'm like, hey, this is cool. We can do it. I'm right here, right? So my advice is kind of, be up your manager's butt about that. Stay active with it. If you can't make it to one of the meetings or anything like that, just let us know. Just good communication back and forth that helps the most, right? And that goes with everything in training. If you have questions, ask them. We're here to really help, and we're here to answer those questions. It's like why my job exists, right? So we just want to make sure that you can come to any manager in the office too. As long as the door's open, feel free to pop in my office. I usually run the 4th and last day of training with you guys, so you'll see more of me here. But the other thing, Tommy, when we to kind of start and go over was kind of the basics of phone calls, the basics of numbers, how that all works. Okay, so I know he likes to actually get into it, right? But I want to kind of quiz you guys and see if you know how many phone calls do you think it takes to get one person to talk to you? Any guesses? 3? And we said 3? 3? What do you guys think? 5?
10.
10, okay. If we were playing Price is Right rules, Amanda is the closest, right? So it's typically about 15 phone calls to talk to one person, right? So I'm glad he came in right now because he can go over the numbers more effectively, right? But I was just telling him a little bit about mental toughness, what to expect in training, that type of thing. Cool. So other than that, Tommy's back.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Yep. Yeah, no problem. See you later.
All right. So, I heard him saying how many calls it takes. Is that what he was talking about? Drew was saying how many calls it takes to get somebody on the phone and all that. So I'm not going to go over too much of that. I'm going to go over what happens after that. When you talk to people, when you get them set, when you make the sales, we'll go over all that. So there's 2 parts of this equation. When you know the numbers are two ways. The first thing we're going to talk about today is understanding the opportunity. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. The second way you got to understand the numbers is on the activity side to make the opportunity happen. So today we're going to talk about if you sit down with 10 people a week, what the average numbers look like. But We're not going to talk about all the numbers behind sitting down with 10 people per week. So in order to sit down with 10 people per week, you have to make a certain amount of phone calls. You have to get a certain amount of people on your schedule and all that. We'll go over that tomorrow because there's not going to be enough time today. So that's on the agenda for tomorrow. So today we'll use this breakdown here. We'll use 10. So if you sit down with 10 clients in a week, how many of them are going to enroll into the benefits? Well, the company would say 40%. So that means 4 out of 10 enroll into the program. For today, we're going to use 3. So if you've seen 10, 3 would enroll. That means 7 will not enroll. So we're getting told no 7 times. We're getting told yes 3 times. So when Drew talks about mental toughness, that's part of it. It's just understanding that it takes about 2 no's to get 1 yes. So when you get your no's, you have to know how to handle that and almost take it as a positive thing. So if someone tells me no, you're like, okay, thank you. I needed you to tell me no. And I need to go find 1 more no. So no, oh, thank you. Good, I got 2. Thank you for your no's. Now I can go get a yes. And when you think about it that way, now you don't get upset when you get told no, right? But if you're not used to it, it's very hard to get used to. You probably never are going to get used to it, really. You just have to know how to handle it. So one of the biggest people's fears is one of people's biggest fears is what? Fear of what? Fear of dying. Fear of dying. People are afraid to die, right? They say there's one thing that people are more afraid of than dying. What is that? Public speaking. People's number 1 fear is public speaking. Number 2 is dying, right? I think up there though, like top 5 would be fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. So one of the reasons why people don't really ask for what they want, let's say, for instance, in the dating game, a guy would ask a girl for their phone number or vice versa or whatever. You see someone you like, you want to get their number, however you want. Why don't they ever go ask? Because they're afraid they're going to get told what? Afraid they're going to get told no. And that's really what they're worried about, right? They don't want to get no. They don't want no. So they don't even go ask. Well, if you don't ask, what's the answer going to be 100% of the time? What's for sure if you don't ask, what are you going to get? It's guaranteed to be no. So if you're afraid to ask and get told no, you should be more afraid to not ask because that's guaranteed to tell you no. And when you learn that kind of stuff, it just changes the way that you think about it. And you're like, man, I'm definitely afraid to ask right now. But if I don't ask, it's like guaranteed no. So I have to ask, and it just gets you out of your comfort zone a little bit. They did a study on sales. Like, let's say I went and did a presentation and you didn't buy from me, right? If you take all the people that don't buy, they say the number 1 reason why the people don't buy is because they were never asked to buy. The salesperson didn't even ask them for their business. The majority of non-sales in sales world are due to people not really even asking for the business in the first place. They never asked. So in our presentations though, we'll go back to these numbers now. So 10, 3, That's 30%. And now each cell is going to be worth 800 ALP. So are you guys familiar with ALP yet? Maybe a little bit. Okay, I'll go over it real quick again. So whatever the client pays per month, that's called their monthly life insurance premium, right? Well, whatever they pay a year is called their annual life insurance premium. So that's what ALP stands for, is the annual. In this situation, an average client with us is paying $67 a month. If someone's paying $67 a month, whatever your client pays per month, all we do is just times that by 12, and that'll give us what they pay per year. So $67 a month times 12 months, it's $804 a year. So we'll just call it 800. That's what the average client's paying. Okay, well, we did 3 families at 800. So we did a total of 2,400. 2,400 of what? ALP, annualized life premium. And that is for the week. So all week long, we went out all week. We saw 10 families this week. If you see 3 families a day, 4 days a week, that's 12 right there. So we're talking about 10. Nothing too crazy. You're definitely not working your butt off giving 10 presentations. Now, let's talk about, I'm not going to go into that right now, but just we can think about it for a second. Just think about this. How long would it take to give these 10 presentations in a week? This is a little side note. This ain't really what we're supposed to go over, but I just wanted you to think about this. It would typically take an hour to an hour and a half per presentation. Let's just say that you averaged an hour and a half per presentation. Some people bought off you, some people didn't. The people that did not buy, those 7 that didn't buy, those presentations were shorter because we didn't have to fill out paperwork, they were quicker. The ones that they bought off of me, those are the ones that were longer. When you average them out, I had some long ones, I had some short ones. It's typically hour and a half is typically too long. But we're gonna use an hour and a half today just to like over exaggerate, plan for the worst case, let's say. But if you give 10 presentations, you typically are not gonna be spending an average of an hour and a half. It'll be less than this typically. So this will be 15 hours. That's how long it would take, 15 hours, right? If you give 10 presentations at an hour and a half each. So that leaves us, what do we got, 168 hours in a week? You have 168 hours in a week, right? And how many hours do you want to sleep? 8? So 8 times 8 is 64. So what's that, 76? Or no, 64. 8 times 8 is 56 hours. So if you sleep 7 days a week times 8 hours, there's 56 hours right there. So we have 56 hours off that 68. We'll put us at 112. So if you sleep for 8 hours a week, 8 hours a night, I'm sorry, you'll have 112 hours left in a week to do everything else you want to do. 112. So from there, we have to be the best at commanding these 112 hours. everybody gets the same amount of time. Everybody gets 24 hours in a day, but some people end up making more money with their 24 hours than others, right? So it always got me thinking, always like perplexed me. I'm like, how did they figure out how to do it? I came to the conclusion one time, I was like, I bet you they figured out how not to sleep. I was so naive. This was when I was younger. And I started coming up with this crazy concept of like, what if I could figure out a way to not sleep? Then I'll be able to really beat everybody because I have like a whole 2 days in one. And obviously that didn't work out too well. You need to sleep. But there's just some people are able to master their time a little bit better, and that takes practice doing it. So once you start identifying this, then you start planning out your hours, and then you plan them out better, then you execute better and plan better and execute better, plan better, execute better. Before you know it, you're mastering your time, you know? So in order to set up these 10 appointments, okay, you're going to probably have to put about 20 hours of calling in to see 10 people. And this is worst case scenario. So this is about 35 hours of work to do this, just as a side note. You should take about 20 hours of calling, 15 hours of presenting, maybe 35 hours of really like work with the client. And that's the goal. You know, if you can work 35 hours, less than 40, if you can work 40 hours a week, because maybe you got to do some client work for those extra 5 hours. We have an agency meeting for an hour a week. You do some training here and there, 40 hours. And you end up hitting some average numbers, right? Regardless, now let's go into the numbers. So what I want to talk about is, first of all, do you guys have any questions on how this happens here? What we're talking about. This is you giving 10 presentations, you see 3 of them buying. All right. When do we do these presentations? Typically on Mondays, we spend our focus setting up our week. Tuesday and Wednesday, we spend our focus seeing clients. Thursday, we set a focus of setting more appointments. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if people want to work overtime or whatever, is focused on serving clients. Now, during the weekends, you'll find that there's certain clients that you'll never be able to see during the week because they're never home. They're only home on the weekends. So that's why we do set time aside to meet with families on the weekends. You'll also find that there's only families that'll be at home in the evenings, and you'll never catch them during the day. So we have to set time aside to meet with them at night. There's also clients that you might not catch them, you know, after noon, 12 o'clock, they're gone. Husband's here, wife's here, like you're here, boom, everything. Then she's working the midnight shift and he comes home at 8 o'clock, gets the kids the thing, blah, blah, blah. He goes to bed at noon. So the only time you can catch him is before she goes to work and before he goes to sleep at 11 o'clock in the morning. So there's certain times that only certain people are going to be available. And that's why we have to have availabilities throughout our schedule throughout the week. And if I only call people at nighttime, then I'm only going to talk to people at nighttime, and I'm never going to catch the people who are answering their phones in the mornings. There's some people who don't answer at night. And then there's some people who don't answer in the mornings. So that's why we just have to balance our schedule to hit on all the time blocks, calling at all different times, seeing people at all different times, on all different days, you know, to where we can maximize our schedule that way. But at the end of the day, we did all that, went through the week. And regardless of when you did yours, maybe you did yours on Tuesday and Wednesday. You saw 5 people Tuesday. You saw 5 people Wednesday. You saw 10 people for the week. You're taking the rest of the week off. That's good. It's good if you wanted to do that. Or you might say, I'm going to see 20 people this week and just keep on working. So now let's go over how we get paid. So we start out as an agent, you start at a 60% contract. Or at a 60% contract. So what you do is you times your commission by your ALP. And that's how much money that you made for the week. So this week you made how much? $1,200. $1,200 equals what? Our commission. So 1,200 is your commission. That's the amount of commission that you earned this week. They always pay us now 65%. So we got to take 65% of whatever our commission is. And that's what they pay us in our advance. Which would be $780 in this situation.
Excuse me just a second. Are you
Yep.
doing 50% of 2,400 or 60%?
Oh my goodness, you're right. I did the wrong number.
60% of 2,400 is 1,440.
You are right. See, you know what? I was just testing you to see if you guys are paying attention.
Well, I happen to be a secondary math teacher. Not that this is secondary math, but I do like numbers.
Good. Why? This is why we needed you on the call today. How come you didn't correct me on this, man?
I don't know, I thought I was gonna say something, I didn't want to.
All right, yeah, so 60% is 1,440, that's correct, yes. 1,440, and then 65% of that is not 980, what is that?
936.
930?
936.
936 is 65%, thank you, Maria. There it is, okay. Everybody got that? Okay, good. So, whenever we get our commission, guys, we have to remember we earned $1,440 though for this week, but they're only giving us 65% up front, so they're going to give us 936, which means they're going to hold basically about $404. They're holding from us. So when do we get that other $400? We get that when the client pays their premiums 9 months. Once they pay 9 months, then we get the other $404 over month 10, 11, and 12. They'll give us a couple, like $100 and some each month for those 3 months. So you got that money and it's coming to you. It just comes to you in month 10, 11, and 12. They say 9 months like a baby. You have to wait 9 months. All right, so now we know the first way that we get paid every week is our paycheck. And in this situation, our upfront paycheck is $936. That's number one. Now, the second way we get paid on a weekly basis is in the form of our bonuses. It's the form of the bonuses. So I'll go over here. And the way the bonuses work is like a sliding scale. So from 0 to 1,000 ALP, you get a 0% bonus on that. From 1,000 to 3,500, we get a 10% bonus on that. From 3,500 to 5,500, we get a 14% bonus on that. From 5,500 to 7,500, we get a 16% bonus. From 7,500 all the way to 12,000, we get an 18% bonus. And from 12,000 plus, we get a 20% bonus on that business that we write. Now, it's like taxes. So on the first $1,000 of business that you write for a month, this is for a month. This resets every month now, okay? So for the first 1,000 that we write this month, we don't get a bonus on that, but from all the business from 1,000 to 3,500, we're going to get a 10% bonus on that portion of our business. So if I wrote 5,000 this week, we know for the first 1,000, I would get $0. From 1,000 to 3,500, that's $2,500 in business. I would get a 10% bonus. So that'll be 250. And then from 3,500 all the way up to $5,000 is $1,500 in business. I'll get a 14% bonus on that for 1,500, which would be, I don't know, 210.
18%. 12,000.
I would get 14% of this 1,500 right here. Cause
1,500.
yeah, because I'll be going from 3,500 to 5,000. So from 3,500 to 5,000 is $1,500. That chunk puts me on that chunk. I'm at the 14% bonus level on that chunk, right? So 14% would be
From 5,500.
of 1,500.
It's
So 20
210.
210. That's what I thought it was. Okay, good. So it's 210, right? So that means my bonus would be 210 plus 250. It'd be $460 in that situation for $5,000 in business. And then the next week, if I wrote 5,000 again, that would take me up to where? 10,000. So then I would get bonused at every tier along the way up to 10,000. I have to figure that out. So it's tiered up. Now, what I'm going to do is give everybody a little cheat sheet. So you don't have to figure this out every time. Keep it real simple, okay? All you want to know is whatever I write for the month, what's my bonus going to be? So if I write 4,000 for the month, my bonus is going to be 320. If I do 5,000 for the month, the bonus is 460. If I do 6,000 for the month, the bonus is 610. If I do 8,000 for the month, the bonus is 940. If I do 10,000 for the month, the bonus is 1,300. If I do 12,000 for the month, the bonus is 1,660. That's the cheat sheet right there. So 4K 320, 5K 460, 6K 610, 8K is 940, 10K is 1,300, 12K for the month is 1,660. Anything over that is 20%. So that means that for every $1,000 that you do over 1,200, you could add 200 to your bonus, or 12,000, I'm sorry. So once you hit 12,000 now you know that every 1,000 that you go over that, your bonus for the month is going to go up by $200 for every 1,000 at that point. So if you wanted to even figure it out, what's nice to know is the more you do, the more you get. See, if you do 4,000, your bonus is 320, that's only 8%. If you do 6,000, your bonus is 610, that's 10%. If you do 8,000, your bonus is 940, that's 12%. 10,000, 1,300, that's 13%. This is like 14%. And it goes up and up and up. The more production you do, the more it'll grow. So, any questions about this? Because now what I want to do is show us what is our bonus for the week. We just did 2,400, right? We just did 2,400. What is our bonus for the week? Well, 2,400 a week is how much a month? 9,600, right? So let's call it 10 grand. If you do 10 grand in a month, your bonus is going to be 1,300, right? Well, if you do 1,300 a month, how much would that be a week? We would divide it by 4. So that would be 325. So that's how I figured that out. So once again, if you're like, well, what is my weekly bonus going to be? Well, all you got to do is figure out what did you do for the month. You did 10K for the month. Your bonus is 1,300 for the month. So 1,300 a month is roughly 325 a week. So now you know that if I'm doing about $2,500 a week, I should be bonusing right around 325 a week. So in this situation, we could even just call it 320 or something just to make it even easier to add up here. But if we take 20 or whatever on top of this, that's 50. Is it 1,250? Is that right, guys? 1,250?
1256.
Yeah, 1,256. Is that the number we added 320 on there? That's 1,256. That would be your paycheck for the week for doing 2,400. So if you do 2,400 and you make like 1,200, you're pretty much making half. So we just spent the last 20 minutes pretty much determining that we don't need to know none of this stuff, because all you got to do is take whatever ALP that you do and just cut it in half, and that's typically going to be your paycheck for the week. It actually should be a little bit more than that, so that's a pretty safe bet when you do that. So, but I did want you to see that there's a real way to figure these numbers out too, and it's not just, just cut it in half and that's your paycheck. That's an easy way to figure it out for sure. Like if you don't have time or anything, but remember, whenever we do get our paycheck, it is not our full paycheck. There is still 35% of my commission that is still coming to me 9 months later. And then when the policy hits 13 months, now I'm going to get paid off of this every single month forever and ever and ever, as long as it's in place. So it doesn't just stop with that initial income. What's nice though is today everybody submitted business, and on Thursday everybody's getting paid on it. We submit business Monday, we get paid on Thursday. So that's pretty nice here too. You get paid every single week. If there's a holiday, maybe a Friday or a Saturday, you'll get paid. But what's nice though is we get paid every single week. You get bonused every week. We get paid every week off the business that we turned in on Monday.
Quick question.
Yes.
So if we're getting bonused every week, we're kind of getting them more towards the end of the month though, because the first 1,000 you don't get any bonus on. So your bigger
Yeah.
paychecks are coming at the end of the month.
The bigger bonuses grow, yes, at the end of the month. Mhm.
Gotcha. And then
Yep.
after
Uh,
the 13th month, that's the residual part. I'm sure that's a really small percentage that gets added for the continuation of their policies, but do you talk about how much that is?
Yeah, yep, yep. So first of all, yeah, you're right on the bonuses. So that's why what we do is we even try and plan it for everybody to have their biggest week towards the end of the month. So you can capitalize on being at your highest bonus level and then capitalizing on that. You know, we ran a cool contest last week just to spice it up a little bit because it was the end of the month, but it was also Thanksgiving. So we put a little contest in place just to have some fun with it too, as well. The renewals are 5%. We get 5%. And then when you grow into management and leadership, they go up. And then whenever you are responsible for training someone, you also receive a override, a renewal rate from the people that you're responsible for training. So if you decide to develop a team, you will be compensated for all of your work upfront, but also residually as well. But that book of business now is part of your overall book of business. So that's why that's why you're going to get paid off of it because you're going to be you're responsible for initiating it, managing it and everything like that. So when you become a supervisor, your renewals go up 1%. When you become a manager, they go up another 1%. And when you become a general manager, they go up 2% when you go up there. So they can go pretty nice. And then when you go to a regional, it goes another 1% to a regional director. So now what that means is when you do personal business yourself, you're going to get that much more of a renewal on your personal business, but also you'll have that 1 or 2% override off of your team that you built over time. So you know that you're always building something. So even if you're not in management and leadership and you're just working on your clientele, you're always building your book. You're always building your clientele. And no one can take those clients away from you. They're always either yours or that's it. Your manager can't fire you and take your clients or something like that. That can't happen. So if you left, then your clients would just go, they'd roll up, the home office would take care of them. And, there's no extra renewals would be earned off of that. You earn your initial renewal percentage and forever. So anyways, yeah, that's the way the residual income will work off of those. So you wait 13 months and you start getting it. Now, 1 month goes by, it's only going to be your first month. But then 2 months, your 14th month, now you have 2 months falling in. Then in your 15th month, you have 3 months falling in. And then it starts to come in and trickle in from there. But you also have coming in when you're getting your renewals, you also have some of your commissions, your 35% back end that comes in as well. So I remember my first month of getting a renewal, it was my birthday. So it was July of 2009, and it was my birthday. And I got $1,000 check, and I couldn't believe it, And they're like, "Yeah, this is your renewal check from just 1 year." And from that point forward, my renewals grew, but it started like $1,000 a month. Then it was like 1,200, 15. Then before you knew it, it was $2,000. Then it was $3,000 a month. And I really kept my head down. I lived in a little apartment. And after 3 years, all my bills are paid. My apartment was paid for, my car payment, my for me, I had not the best driving record when I was young, so my car insurance was like $500 a month or something ridiculous like that. So, but I was grateful that I had the residual income because it paid for all that, And I just remember realizing that my bills are paid by the residual income. And now I'm able to go to work every week and I'm able to earn this income weekly and I'm able to put it towards other things like growing my business and, investing and things of that nature. And then the residual income continued to grow. 5 years, it was like $7,000 a month. 7 years, I was getting $10,000 a month. And that's when we start looking for homes. That's when you're like, all right, like, babe, we can pretty much get any home we want. $10,000 a month, like, if we can't afford a house at that, we got problems. We got, So we literally were able to go out home shopping with like not a care in the world. Like walking into these $1 million homes, like, we don't like the backyard. Like, like what the heck? I never even thought about that. I never even think about doing something like that. So that's about 7-8 years in the business. You can start doing stuff like that, which is pretty exciting. And then 10 years of my residual income was like $15,000 a month. And now I just hit 12 years and I'm getting about 22,000 a month, crept up a little bit. So that's after 12 years with the company. So right now we're here and we're looking for homes. And I mean, there's literally $2 million homes that are like no problem at all for us to just go pick up for our family. Like, not a big deal. We can get a nice $2 million home and it's not even an issue. You get the cars and go on a couple vacations and still be good to go, So that's what's nice about the what you're building is you don't see it up front, and it takes a while to start building some traction. But you pick your head up 4 years from now and you graduate. Like, look at this like going to school. It takes about 4 years to graduate from school, except you got to spend a whole bunch of money there, and then you come out and you don't get no residual income. Here, you get to make a whole bunch of money for 4 years, learn, help people, and you're getting to build some residual income for yourself and even a business, over time. So back to this though, any more questions any questions at all on this? Because we could do a couple, maybe do two quick examples, right? Let's just say, what would your upfront pay be if you wrote $4,000 for the week? Just your pay, your commission, no bonus. What would be your bonus?
A little over 2,000.
Or I'm sorry, no. I'm sorry, your total, your total pay. If you wrote $4,000, what would be your pay?
About 2,000.
Well, your total income would be about $2,000, right? But we get paid two ways. We get paid a commission and a bonus. He's saying if you take the commission, the bonus, add that up, you'll make about $2,000. That's exactly right. Okay, very simple. So, but what would be just your commission off of this? What would be your advance on commission? So what we would do is we would take 4,000 and we times 4,000 ALP, right? By what?
6.
By 0.60, by 60%, 60. And that would give us what, 2,400? And then we would times that by what? 0.65. And then that would give us our advance, which is what?
1,560.
1,560. All right, there you go. That's how you figure it out. You guys, Amanda and Maria, you see how we got that? Okay, good. Now, here's another pop quiz question. If you wrote 4,000 for the week, what is your bonus?
About 320.
You got it. You got it. You got it. Since it's the first week of the month, is what we're saying. Looks like you guys got it. Okay. I'm going to erase this and keep it moving then. Now, from here, we're just going to go over the management contracts. And I'll keep this up on the top there because we'll continue to use this as an example. So the management contracts, the first one we'll go over is going to be the supervisor. let's call it an SA, supervising agent, 62.5%. So there at an SA is at 62.5%. The agent is at 60. So that's the difference there. You see how they're getting that 2.5% increase in their contract? Okay. Now, whenever they have, let's say a supervisor trains an agent, that agent is at 60, they're at 62.5, right? So what's the difference? The difference is 2.5%. That is what the supervisor gets paid in an override for the business that the agent does. So whatever the agent does, the supervisor gets the difference in their contracts, which is 2.5%. That's their commission. Remember, we get paid two ways. We get paid a commission. Second way is bonus. So when you're an agent, you write business. When I write business today, if I go meet somebody and I sign them up for a nice policy for their family, I'm going to get paid a commission. I'm also going to get paid a bonus. But if I'm in leadership and somebody on my team ends up signing up a policy, I'm going to get paid off of that a commission and a bonus as well. So we have our personal commission and our personal bonuses, but we also have our leadership commission and our leadership bonuses. Okay. So the first way I'm going to get paid now is in this situation, we're going to use a supervisor that trained 3 people. So I have 3 agents. And each agent does 2,000. That means that my team did a total of 6,000. I get the difference in the override here, which is they all wrote their business at what? 60%, right? And I'm at 62.5. So I get off this ALP. We got to times this by 2.5%. That equals what? My commission from my team, which is $150. When we get paid our commission, they give us our commission for the week, and then we get paid in advance on that commission as well, right? So remember, we made $150 is our commission, but also we have to times that by 65%. So that basically is like $100 or so, because that's our what? Advance. So for the week, we made 150. They gave us 100. They probably held 50 for what? How long do they hold that 50 for? 9 months. 9 months. Same thing. Okay. All right. Now what? So that's way number 1 over here. 1. We made $100, and that's our leadership pay, leadership commission, $100. What's the second way we get paid? Is bonus. How do we get paid leadership bonuses. Well, when you are a supervisor, they're going to give you 125% bonus for anybody that is on your team in their first 90 days. So what that means is if you're in your first 90 days and that person gets a bonus, the supervisor gets 125% of that for the first 90. Now, if they're out of their first 90, they're going to give them 25% of the bonus. So on your team, you might have some people that are in their first 90 days. You might have some people that are out of their first 90 days. Some people that you're getting, when they get a bonus, you're getting 125% of their bonus, which is pretty nice. You're getting a bigger bonus than they're getting. But some people are out of their first 90 days, you're getting 25% of their bonus every time they bonus, right? Okay. So the average here is about 75%. What that means is if you're a supervisor and someone on your team gets a bonus, you're going to receive, on average, 75% of what they got in their bonus. So let's use an example over here. And this will tell you what we'll be looking at, okay? Over here, we have 3 people write 2,000. So I'll tell you that the bonus for writing 2,000 a week, well, check this out, right? Ready? If you write 2,000 a week, how much is that a month? 8, right? If you write 8,000 a month, what is the bonus? Remember we did the cheat sheets? If you look at your cheat sheet, if you do 8,000 a month, the bonus is $940. Now, if your bonus is $940 a month, how much is that a week? $235. So if I'm bonusing $235, which is $940 a month, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm writing 8,000 a month. The reason I'm writing 8,000 a month is because I'm writing 2,000 a week. So if I'm writing 2,000 a week, my bonus is $235 a week. So that's the way to figure that out, $235. So we had 3 people all bonus at $235 this week. On my team, I had 3 people, they all bonused to $235. They got their $235 in their bonus. I'm their supervisor. So which 3 times $235? $705. So my team got paid $705 in bonus money. Since I'm the supervisor, they're going to pay me an average of what? 75% of that. So whatever my team gets in a bonus, I get about 75% of that as a supervisor. Some of them I'll get more, some of them I'll get less, but that's it. So that ends up being like 500, or what is it? 505?
528.
528. So my bonus for the week is 528. Plus, so remember, this is the second way we get paid is our bonus, 528. Our first way we get paid is our paycheck, which was about $100. So we made 100 plus 528. So we made $628 for the week. As a supervisor with 3 people doing average numbers, and the supervisor didn't go see anybody yet for the week either. So when you're a supervisor, you're not just going to be sitting at the office all day doing nothing. You're going to go see your clients too. So if you go see your clients and you end up writing 2,400, then you're going to end up making about $1,200. So you make your own $1,200 plus your team, they all did some average numbers and you made an extra $600 there. And now that's how you made for the week $1,800 or so in income. That's with only 3 people hitting average numbers and you hitting average numbers as well. That's your team doing 6 and you doing 2. That's a total of about 8,400 total for the week. Gio did 9,000 last week himself. Right? Like one person. So imagine if you just had one person on your team, or imagine if you were that one person and you did that. The numbers can be astronomical. I saw this, I was like, 3 people? I'll get 10 people to do that. So any questions about the supervisor pay? Pretty straightforward? Okay, because when we go up, the next one is going to be a manager, and it's very, very similar. It's the same situation pretty much, okay? But when you go to a manager, the 62.5 grows, obviously, because that's a supervisor. So we'll clear this out of the way too. All right, excuse my back there. Okay, so the manager, we call that a GA in our business. So you might hear people call it a manager. You might hear people call it a GA. A GA is the technical term, general agent. It's the contract that we would technically be here, but I like to call it a manager. Because think about it, you got a supervisor, a manager, and a general manager. Just makes more sense to most people. The GAs, anybody know what this contract is? 67.5. 67.5. So now what's the difference here is 5%. See that? So we get a 5% split on that. Now, if you want to think about it, most GAs will typically have at least one, but you should have 2 or 3 supervisors. Each supervisor can train and have people as well. The last situation we used was a supervisor with how many people? 3. We just did an example. We said if you're a supervisor and you have 3 people. So let's just say that now you're a GA and you have a supervisor that has 3 people and you have another supervisor that has 3 people. So you're a GA and you have 2 supervisors. Each of your supervisors have 3 people that they train, just like in that example. Now you have a total of 8 people. Each person does 2,000. For our example today, guys, we're just going to call it 15,000 instead of 16,000, so I can do math a little easier. Well, we know that what percentage of this do we get paid? 5%. So we times that by 5%. That's our commission, which is $750. And then we times our commission by what? 65%. And that will give us our advance, which is about, I don't know, what is it, $498 or something?
487.
$487. That's the first way we get paid. Number one, 487 is number one. That is our what? That is our advance on commission. That's our paycheck. So if my team does 15,000, I'll make about $500 right there. Second way we get paid is in the form of bonus. So we always get paid a paycheck and we always get paid a bonus. When you get into management, you get paid a leadership pay and a leadership bonus as well. Well, the leadership pay, we just figured it out, 487. Leadership bonus now, you have to know, how does the manager get bonused? Well, how does the supervisor get bonused? The supervisor got 125 for the first 90 days, right? For the first 90, and then there was 90 plus. Well, the GA gets paid 135 for the first 90 days. And after that, they get paid 50% bonus. So that means that if I train someone for their first 90 days, I'm going to get 135% of their bonus. After that, no matter what, I get 50% of their bonus forever. And this person can live in Kentucky. They can live in Arizona. I can hire my cousin who lives in Kansas. I could train them. And then every time my cousin writes business in Kansas, I'm going to get paid half of their bonus every single week for the rest of their career, rest of their lives, forever and ever, ever, no matter what. For my first 90 days, I'll get 135. So that's pretty nice. This never existed before. They just put this big bonus in here for the managers now. Any questions on that? Let's figure it out. What do we make? Well, we already know that if we do 2,000 a week, our bonus is 235. We had 8 people doing it. 8 people times 235 is, I don't know, $1,800, $1,900. We get 1880. So there's $1,880 in bonus money that got paid out to my team. What percentage of that do we get if we're the GA? Well, we know that we'll get 135 for the first 90 and 50 after. Blend it together, guys, and it is 85%. 85%. So take this times 85% and you get 1598. So that's the second way we get paid. Number 2 is our leadership bonus, which is about $1,600 or so. When you add those two together, you got paid 487 plus 1598. It's over $2,000 in income for the week. So now we have $2,000. We'll just call it 2085 is the number. We have $2,000 in income for the week for having my team do about $15,000 in production. Did I go out and see any clients yet as the GA? No, that's just purely off of coaching my team and making sure that everybody's hit what they need to hit. Now, we do what's called leading from the front. And as a manager, you always want to lead from the front, make sure you're still seeing your clients. If I went and saw my clients and I wrote 2,400 like we had on the board before, I would make $1,200, half of that. So if I wrote 2,400, I'd make 1,200 plus I'd make the 2,000 off the team. My total income for the week is 3,200 for the week. So people are like, how How did Vince make $5,000 last week? People ask, how did Vince do that? Because Vince is a GA. And Vince's team did a lot more than 15 grand, and Vince wrote a lot more than 2,400 personally himself. If you're a GA, do you think you're good or bad at the business?
Good.
You're probably pretty good, right? Do you think writing $2,000 in a week is going to be a stretch for you? Not at this point. Not at this point. Vince can go out and write 2,000 anytime he wants on Tuesday if he wanted to, right? So he went out and wrote like 5 grand himself, and then his team went out and wrote like 2,500. Before you know, he's making $5,000 for the week, 5,500. You know. So, anyways, that's where these numbers come from. I want you guys to see this, so when you see this happening, you're not thinking like, oh, that just must be lucky or this and that. No, it's all just facts, it's just numbers. They just did the work and put all this stuff in place. They put it together, you know. So I want you to see this so you can start mapping it out, putting it together yourself too. Because the next thing we're going to go over is going to be the MGA. So we'll just put that right up here. And the MGA is a 75% contract. MGA is 75% contract. So the difference in that split obviously is 7.5%. See that? 7.5% split right there. So now, as an MGA, we're going to use an example. If you have 15 people that you're responsible for, and each person does 2,000, your team is going to do 30,000. We get paid 2 ways off of that. The first way is our pay. So how do we figure our paycheck? Take the split. What's the split? 7.5%. Times it by that, which is $22.50. Guys with me so far? So the team did 30,000. I get 7.5 because I'm the MGA. What's the team look like? Let me just show you over here. You have an MGA. MGA has a GA. The GA has some essays. The MGA has another GA, and this GA essay or two. That's your team. Like if you look at Geo right now, Geo has 2 GAs, and each of his GAs has some essays. It's a good setup. But you build that, you grow that, you build that, you develop that. Okay, so 7.5% is 22, but remember we got to times it by 0.65 to give us our advance rate of 1462. 1462. That is number 1, which is what? That's the first way we get paid as an MGA. The first way we get paid as an MGA is our paycheck. The second way we get paid as an MGA is our bonus. So, how does the bonus work? As an MGA, the bonus is 100%. In or out of 90 days, don't matter. So if you're, it just don't matter. You get 100% across the board. Pretty straightforward, right? All right. So how do we figure out our, well, we had 15 people, all bonus at 235. So 15 times 235 would be our bonus, which is 3,000. 3525. So if you have 15 people on your team and they all bonus at 235, that's a total of $3,525 of bonus money. That's $3,520 bonus money paid out to them. Whatever your team gets in a bonus, what do you get? You get 100% of that. So your bonus is, number two, second way we get paid is our bonus, which is 3525. So when you're an MGA now, you got paid 14 plus 35. You're looking at 49, a total of 4,900 and whatever, 80 some dollars for the week. And that's your weekly paycheck. That's how you make $250,000 a year, is when you make $5,000 per week. So the key to doing this is you're gonna have to develop now probably 2 GAs you're gonna have to develop and probably 4 supervisors. So if you can get your mind set on, I have to step up so other people can step in. I got to step my game up so other people can step in. And then I got to teach them how to step their game up so we can get other people to step in. If your mindset can be on develop myself so I can develop others so they can step up and develop others. The reason I'm developing them is so they can develop other people, so they can develop other people. We could each one teach one and continue to grow that way. Well, you really have to have 2. If you can have 2, a right and a left hand person, a right and left leg to stand on, sort of, some people you can grow and work with, we can develop them too to be supervisors and you can be the manager. And then you could develop them too to be managers and you could be the general manager. And in order for them to develop themselves the managers, though, they're going to have to develop what? Supervisors. Right? So think about it. You start out, man, and you start out and you work hard and you get promoted to a supervisor. This could be March of next year. We're already here. You guys all on this call should be, not even could be, should be either getting promoted or knocking on the door for your promotion. Getting right there, you're ready for it, okay? When you become a supervisor, now you start training, developing, and you have you have 2 people you work with. Well, if you can get these 2 people to step up to be supervisors, you can be the manager, right? And then all you got to do from that point is you have to take 6 months, 3 to 6 months, and work with these 2 people. All you're going to do is work with these 2 people, work with them, develop them to where they can step up to GAs. Because if this person can step up to a GA, he's going to bring his 2 people with him. They're going to become supervisors. If this person can step up to a GA, then she's going to bring her 2 people with her, and they're going to step up to be their supervisors. And before you know it, then we have a situation that looks like what we just drew up there before. And this is just in a perfect world. It don't have to grow like this. But just like this, you once you were an agent, you're an agent, that was you. Then you became a supervisor and you developed 2 agents. Then you became a manager and you developed 2 supervisors that they developed 2 agents. Then you became an MGA who developed 2 GAs, and them 2 GAs developed 2 supervisors who developed 2 agents. And that's pretty much all we're looking at. Austin has done very well. She's come into the business. She's picked up the sales, done a great job working with the clients, meeting clients. She makes the calls, sets the appointment. She does all that. But she's also really great with zoning in and focusing on identifying and getting her leaders in place, the people that need to be in leadership, and the people that are already starting to move with their team building. So it's the idea of the power of 5. And they say 5 is a good number for someone to lead. You know, once people get over 5, a lot of people get overwhelmed. Very few people can manage more than 5. Some people can, though. Some people can manage 55, no problem. But most people, 5 is a good number. Well, if I can get my 5 and I line up my 5, I need to get my 5 first. Once I got my 5, then I get them 5 to get their 5. So I have to get each person now, each one of my 5 people to get their 5 people established, right? And once I do that, we're set. Everybody's set. Austin's really good at that. She's got a very good foundation of that going for herself. And she didn't wait. She did it straight from Jump Street. As soon as she got in the door, she said, what do I need to do to get to the next level? Show me what I got to do. Let's put some goals in place. And she went after it. So you don't have to wait. You don't have to do it at a slow pace. There really is no time limit or timetable on this stuff. It's everybody at their own pace. Average time, though, from an agent to a supervisor could be 3 to 6 months. To get to promoted to a supervisor, 3 to 6 months. And then it will be another 6 months to 9 months to be a manager. And then another year to become a general manager. Typically 2 to 3 years it takes to become a general manager. That's moving at a pretty good, solid pace too. You're definitely not slouching. I've seen people get there in less than a year. I've done it in 8 months. I went all the way to a general manager in 8 months. I've seen people do it in 6 years. Took them 6 years. By golly, they finally made it though. And hey, I mean, to be honest with you, it don't really matter how long it takes you. Because once you get there, I mean, look at this. You have the power to generate unbelievable income and create and run your own business. So let's say it took you an extra year to get there, but once you get there, you're making $4,000 to $5,000 a week. I don't think that's a bad situation, you know? So from this point, guys, the next thing that you can do is you can get promoted to what's called an RGA, which is the regional general agent. I'll put that over here. And the RGA is at an 80% contract, which you get a 5% override on your MGAs. So now if you're an RGA, you're going to oversee an MGA, or 2 or 3 or 4, 5 or 6, 10. The RGA oversees MGAs, but the RGA is also their own MGA as well. They're the same. So I have my own MGA team, but I'm also an RGA over somebody else. That's how it always works. Okay? When you're an RGA, you get a 5% override and 100% bonus that the MGA gets. So whatever bonus your MGA gets, you get. And your override is 5%. So I'll just give one quick example and then we'll break, okay? The RGA has 5 MGAs. 5 MGAs, each of them is doing $20,000 a week. That means the team's doing $100,000 a week. Well, if you're doing $100,000 and You're at 80, the MGA is at 75, you get a difference of 5, right? So I get 5% on this 100,000 a week. There's 5,000 right there. Then I get 65% of that up front. So it's really like 3,300 or something. So I get 3,300 as my first way. Second way we get paid, I get 100% of their bonus. Well, if an MGA does 20 grand, their bonus is 2,000. So I had 5 MGAs do 20 grand. I had 5 MGAs bonus at 2,000. So 5 MGAs, all bonus at 2,000. That means they got a total of $10,000 in bonus money. I'm the RGA. I get 100% of whatever they get. Whatever my MGA gets in a bonus, I get the same bonus. So my MGA's bonus to 10 grand. So what do I get? I get 10 grand. So my bonus money for the week is 10,000. My paycheck for the week is 3,300. I just made $13,000 for the week, and I didn't even do anything yet. My MGA team that I still run didn't even write no business yet. If my MGA team does 30 grand, we just saw what happens when an MGA team does 30 grand. What do you make? 5K. It was 49.80 or something. We'll call it 5K. So there you made $18,000 for the week now. And we still didn't get our residual income for the month. And I definitely didn't go write no business yet. So this is what took me 4 years in the business. Like I told you, I made $937,000 in my 4th year with this company back in 2012. And the bonuses were not 100%. The bonuses were 40%. So the bonuses were 100%. I would have made a lot more that year. And then from that year, every year, it just kept growing and growing and growing. You know, I make $250,000 before I even wake up right now. You know? So when you become an RGA is $500,000 a year plus income. I've made over $1 million as an RGA with this company. And I just want you to see how. This is how. You got to develop yourself to an MGA, and you got to develop a bunch of other people to MGA, and it doesn't happen overnight. But hey, that's how I'm going to end it on today, just to give us a little bit of get out of here a little bit early. But I definitely wanted to go from the bottom all the way to the top. I mean, this is when you're making, I just showed you how to make $18,000 in a week. Just showed you. You have to get to an MGA, and you have to get 5 other people to MGAs. You get 5 people to be MGAs, and they're doing 20 grand a week in production, and you do 30 grand a week and lead from the front. There you go. You're a millionaire. Took me 4 years to do this. So even if it takes you a little bit longer, you'll be okay. I feel like, you know, I feel like even if it took somebody 10 years, and after 10 years they're making $1 million, I don't know anywhere else you can do it after 10 years. Like, where can you go in 10 years and make a million? You go 10 years and maybe make 100 grand some places. You could go 10 years and maybe make 200 grand in some places. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on out there. You know, I haven't really dove into my research on this subject as much. But my research has been this. I have interviewed, and I've interviewed thousands of people over the last 12 years. Personally, they come in, they sit down at my desk, they bring their resume. I look, how are you doing? Let me take a peek at your resume. Okay, great. And I build rapport with these people. I've interviewed thousands of people. I've hired thousands of people. I probably have trained thousands of people. I've recruited thousands of people from all different industries, all over the place. So I don't have any like data that Google says about this or Google. I just have my own personal experiences to go off of. And I've been looking my whole entire life for an opportunity. My dad spent his whole life looking for an opportunity. My nana got sent to this country because there was no opportunity in Italy. If there was a better opportunity in Italy, her parents would have sent her here. They would have said, stay in Italy with us. If it was a great place, if Italy was that bad, good, why would they send their daughter on an arranged marriage to America? It must have been pretty bad over there to send their 18-year-old daughter on a boat to marry a man she never met before. Things must have been pretty bad. You guys feel me? That's why we came to America, was because there was no opportunity in Italy. So we came here for the land of what? Opportunity. The land of opportunity. And we get here, we find out, my dad goes, do you go? So my dad does what everybody says. He goes to college, gets his degree, becomes an engineer, finds out 30 years go by, that wasn't a good plan. Our family is not in the best financial situation. He definitely ain't going to be retiring, ain't living financial freedom. So he's searching all his life opportunity. We got to find a better opportunity. I'm searching, and then we finally find this opportunity here. And from what I found out, I don't know where you can go in years and earn this type of income. So I said, is it guaranteed? I said, it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed, right? But I can guarantee you this, that you're going to have the same exact opportunity that I had, but better. But better. Leadership's better, company's better, opportunities better, bonuses are better. Everything today, contract better, renewals are better. Everything we have today is better than when I started. So I can't guarantee you in 4 years you're going to make what I made or whatever, but I can guarantee you have the same opportunity that I had. And like I said, if there was just a 1% chance of it being possible, that's all I needed. Is it because want to know what? Where I was before, there was a 0% chance of it happening. You know? Like, there was a 0% chance that I could earn $250,000 when I was working at the mall for Banana Republic. That's not even a possibility. And if it was 30 years down the line, once I gave my blood, sweat, and tears, and I sold out and probably got Banana Republic tattooed on my chest. And if I was Banana Republic out, I mean, I had Banana Republic everything. They call me Mr. Banana Republic. If I sold out, maybe after 30 years, I could possibly have a chance to get this high-ass executive job that you could make $250,000, but then I'd have to wait for somebody to die or retire for that to even be possible to happen too. Those are the chances I'm talking about to make $250,000. Here, they show me this, and they're like, look at this. If you do this, this, and this, then you get paid that. I'm like, wait a minute. I do that, and that, I get that. They're like, you do that, and that, you get that. I'm like, wait a minute. I just got to do this, and then after I do this, I do this. And when I do that and that, they're going to give me that? They're like, yes. I'm like, that just seems too good to be true. I said, this can't be real. This can't be a real thing. They're like, I'm telling you, if you're everything that you say you are, this company's everything I'm telling you that it is and even more. So I figured it out and I did the math. I'm like, holy cow. I went home. I told my dad, I said, Dad, literally within 1 year, we could be making over $200,000 for the rest of our lives if I just take this year and get this thing set up. And he's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, check this out. Look, if I do this and this, I get this. He's like, you could do that and that, you get that? I'm like, yeah. And we called him up. We called up the guy who hired me, Simon. Hey, Simon, I'm with my dad. Tell my dad what you told me. He's like, okay, well, if you do this and you do this, you get that. I was like, I told you, Dad. I told you. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Remember, we're trying to get out. This is our ticket. This is our chance. This is our chance. This is the opportunity we've been praying for, is right here. And once we decided to go in on this, we went in 100% into this opportunity. And my dad was an engineer. He just supported me. He just helped me and supported me. So anyways, guys, you guys got the ticket now. You guys got the recipe. You got the math behind it. We got to put the work, and put this all in the motion and start putting the players in place and the pieces of the puzzle together. And then all along, you got to learn the business too. So it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot to learn and everything, but it'll be fun. I just recommend to go all in now while you're young in the business, while you have the energy now, because it's never going to be cheaper to put in the time it is today than it is. Things just get more expensive as time goes on. So we want to just lock it in and get our work done now. Use the next few months, few years to establish yourself and treat it as school, like I talked about. Give it that school mentality. 4 years to graduate. I don't think I met anybody who's been with our company for 4 years and makes less than $100,000. That's pretty cool. Like, just be here 4 years and you're at least gonna make $100,000, right? So, all right, well, that's it, guys. We went a little bit over on time today. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Tomorrow, you'll have a whole day full of fun learning and more numbers as well in the afternoon. But this was the nuts and bolts of the contracts and everything. Hopefully this was a good refresher for you. And good luck with your training tonight on the phones. Take a little break and then give your managers a call. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks again.